Welcome to day 9 of the 30-day challenge. We are going to talk about confidence today. That's what the entire week is about, is confidence. And one way that you can build confidence starting right now, build it even stronger than you already have it, is by consuming more information. Having more information helps you build confidence. One really easy way to illustrate this is to talk about my stage fright. I used to have what I call debilitating stage fright, right? These are the words we use that we tell ourselves. But I had stage fright. I could not speak in front of more than a few people at once. My heart would race. So I would get all sweaty. It was a mess. And you may feel this way because essentially half the population has stage fright. And I never thought ever in a million years that I would get on stages and speak in front of thousands of people or hundreds of people like I do today. I speak so often now in front of the biggest audiences. And the way that I got over the stage fright, actually, if you read my book, It's About Damn Time, you read chapter 16 of my book, It's About Damn Time, it tells you how I got over that stage fright. So either get the book itself, the hardback, the paperback, or get the audio version, and it will help you. But it was by consuming information, because what I was afraid of is that I wouldn't know what I was talking about, and then I would get all stumble and do all this stuff and not know what to say, and deer in headlights, right? But that was one major piece of it. There's a little bit more to it. So how do you get more information? Well, if you want, you can read more. And I don't mean just reading from books. You can read magazines, you can read papers, you can also listen to audiobooks. I mean, to me, that's a big hack. I probably listen to 90% of my books as audio rather than reading them from a book. Although I have all these books behind me, most of them are also downloaded as an audiobook because that's how I prefer to read them. In fact, I used to think that I didn't like to read. I don't know. Again, we tell ourselves these things, right? We say these things, I don't do this or I don't like that. I used to think I didn't like to read. It was just when I realized I like to read nonfiction more than I like to read fiction. And in school, we were taught on a lot of fiction, so it wasn't as interesting to me. Now I can do a little bit of both, but I still love nonfiction. So take away any doubts if you're not a reader. You probably are, or you probably need another format in order to enjoy it and be able to understand it. You can also listen to podcasts. You can watch YouTube videos. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, second only to Google, which owns it. So almost any topic you can imagine can be found on YouTube. And if there's not the topic there, you can help create that topic. Courses, mastermind groups. I'm in a few mastermind groups. I have a couple of coaches and mentors. I am always upskilling. And that's another way that I can feel confident. I can feel like I know more. I'm always spending hours and hours and hours a week on YouTube searching and researching and just getting better and better and better and more knowledgeable, because that knowledge turns into wisdom and it turns into insight. And once you have more insights and more wisdom, it comes more naturally to you to know the answer. But if you don't feel like you know enough, someone told me yesterday, I'm not good at math. You can become good at math. You understand, like, even if you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s, you can become good at something. It doesn't mean that you're just not, that you're stuck. And I find myself doing this accidentally too, where I say, I don't do that. Well, question, why don't you do that? And could that change? Could you become someone who does that with enough application? Now, also, what I really found to be super valuable is reading something more than once. So I will read a book and then I'll come back to it a year later and read it again because it will have a different meaning to me after a year's worth of living and experience and going through stuff. You will hear things in chapters and see things in what you watch that will surprise you. Was that there before? Or it was there before, but now I understand it. Now it makes sense to me. So when I read my business books, I go back to them over and over and over again as a reference, like they're my own personal library of information. So that will do it. Again, if you can work on your stage presence, if you can work on challenging yourself, if you look at the book, It's About Damn Time, in chapter 16, I tell you exactly how I went from having crazy stage fright to being able to speak in front of I think 20,000 people is the largest audience I've spoken in front of. So definitely read that. If you can do that, that'll build big confidence and it could pay off in other ways. So what I want you to do is your homework. I want you to read that chapter, either the audio version or the written version of it. You can also rent it or get it from the library if you can't afford it. But it is accessible all over the world, in most places all over the world, but definitely in the US, definitely in parts of Europe and Africa. Please look it up. And that's your homework because we're going to reference it in our Zoom call that you can go to the link below to sign up for.